The discovery the mining lasers carved through the asteroid's metallic surface with surgical precision, sending streams of molten ore into the collection pods. Captain Sarah Chen watched the operation from the bridge of the mining vessel Horizons. Edge, her experienced eyes tracking the real-time mineral analysis scrolling across her displays. Designation 7749 was proving to be a gold mine, literally. The asteroid contained enough rare Earth elements to fund 3 more expeditions into the Outer Rim. Sarah called Dr. Elena Vasquez from the geology station, her voice carrying that particular tone that meant she'd found something interesting. You need to see this. The deep scans are picking up something unusual. Sarah floated over in the low-gravity environment, her magnetic boots clicking against the deck plating. The holographic display showed a 3-dimensional cross-section of the asteroid, with the various mineral veins highlighted in different colors. But there, near the core, was something that didn't belong. What am I looking at? Sarah asked, though she had a sinking feeling she already knew. In 15 years of deep space mining, she'd seen enough anomalies to know when they'd stumbled onto something that would complicate their mission. That's the problem, Elena said, manipulating the hologram to zoom in on the anomaly. I have no idea. It's dense, metallic, and it's giving off a faint energy signature. But the composition doesn't match anything in our databases. Lex-9 approached from across the bridge, their crystalline form refracting the light from the displays into prismatic patterns. The Vorthin's natural ability to analyze mineral compositions made them invaluable on mining operations, but their translated voice carried confusion. The resonance patterns are disturbing. My geological senses detect something that should not exist within natural asteroid formation. Creel, the ship's Nixari technician, emerged from a maintenance shaft with their 4 arms covered in lubricant. Their silicon-based physiology allowed them to work in conditions that would be lethal to most other species. But their compound eyes showed concern as they joined the group. Equipment acting strange since we start mining here. Instruments giving readings that make no sense. Sarah studied the anomaly on the display. It was roughly cylindrical, about 50 meters long and 20 meters wide, and appeared to be made of an unknown metal that absorbed their scanning beams. Could it be a derelict ship? That's what I thought initially, Elena said, calling up another display. But look at this. The metal isn't just unknown, it's impossible. According to our scans, it's approximately 3 million years old. But it shows no signs of decay, radiation damage, or structural fatigue. It's as if time has had no effect on it. Vex-9's crystalline body flickered with agitation. No. Civilization possesses such materials. This requires investigation. Or we could mark its location and let the archaeologists handle it, Sarah suggested, though she knew it was a futile hope. Elena's excitement was practically radiating off her, and Sarah recognized the look of scientific curiosity that wouldn't be denied. Sarah, this could be the discovery of the century, Elena pleaded. A perfectly preserved artifact from a previously unknown civilization? We have to investigate. Before Sarah could respond, Creel's instruments began emitting a series of rapid clicks. Captain, the anomaly ... It's moving. All eyes turned to the displays. The cylindrical object was indeed shifting, rotating slowly within the asteroids. Core. As they watched, faint lights began to appear along its surface, geometric patterns that pulsed with a soft, blue-white radiance. It's reacting to our presence, Elena whispered, her voice filled with awe. Sarah's military training kicked in. Red alert. All mining operations cease immediately. Bring us to a safe distance, and the light on the object suddenly flared brighter, and every piece of human-manufactured equipment on the bridge responded with a harmonic resonance. The displays flickered and showed impossible data streams. The environmental controls hummed in perfect pitch, and even Sarah's personal tablet began displaying symbols she'd never seen before, but the alien equipment told a different story. X9 staggered backward as their crystalline form began to vibrate painfully. Something is wrong. My body resonates with dissonance. The patterns hurt. Creel's compound eyes showed distress as sparks flew from their modified communicator. My interface is failing. Cannot connect with ship systems properly. Elena, what's happening? Sarah demanded. But the Xenorchaeologist was staring at her tablet in amazement. The symbols, they're changing, reorganizing themselves. It's like they're trying to communicate with us. Sarah looked at her own displays and saw the same phenomenon. The unknown symbols were shifting, rearranging themselves into patterns that seemed almost familiar, as if she was on the verge of understanding their meaning. We need to get closer, Elena said, her scientific curiosity overriding caution. Absolutely not, Sarah replied firmly. We don't know what that thing is capable. A new voice cut through their argument, not heard, but somehow understood directly by their minds. The voice was warm, welcoming, and spoke in perfect standard even though no sound was produced. Welcome, children of the resonance. We have waited so long for your return. Sarah felt her blood freeze. Did everyone hear that? Elena nodded her. Face pale, clear as day. But Dex-9's translation matrix sparked with confusion. Hear what? There is only silence and painful resonance. Creel's forearms gestured frantically. Detecting electromagnetic pulses, but no communication signals. What do you hear? Sarah and Elena exchanged glances. Whatever was communicating with them was speaking directly to the humans while remaining completely incomprehensible to their alien colleagues. Do not fear. Inheritors. You carry the frequency within your very essence. Come closer, and we will show you the truth of your heritage. This is insane, Sarah muttered, but she found herself moving toward the pilot's station. Despite her rational mind screaming warnings, something deep within her was responding to the call. Sarah, what are you doing? Dex-9 asked, their form flickering with growing alarm. I need to get closer to it. Sarah's hands moved over. The controls as if guided by instinct. There's something there, something important. The horizon's edge moved closer to the asteroid, and as they approached, the anomaly's lights grew brighter. Suddenly, sections of the asteroid around the object began to crumble away, not from any external force, but as if the rock itself was choosing to release its ancient cargo. What emerged defied comprehension. The cylindrical object was revealed to be just the tip of something much larger, a massive ship, easily a kilometer in length, with flowing organic curves that seemed to pulse with living light. Its hull was the same impossible metal they detected, unmarked by eons of burial in the asteroid's embrace. By the void, Elena breathed. It's beautiful. Beautiful wasn't the word Sarah would have chosen. Terrifying was more accurate. The ship radiated an aura of incredible age and power, and every human instrument was now responding to its presence with perfect harmony. Asterisk. But their alien crew members were suffering. Dex-9 had retreated to the far corner of the bridge, their crystalline form dim and flickering. Creel was hunched over their workstation, all four arms trembling as they struggled to maintain control of their equipment. You feel the discord of those who cannot hear the true frequency. The voice explained gently. They are not made as you. Are made. They cannot resonate with our legacy. What do you want from us? Sarah asked aloud, causing her alien colleagues to look at her in confusion. Want? We want nothing. We offer everything. You are the children of the predecessor race, scattered across the galaxy eons ago when our time of flesh came to an end. In your genetic pattern lies the key to technologies beyond imagination, to knowledge that could reshape the cosmos itself. Elena was recording everything on her tablet, though Sarah doubted any of this would make sense to anyone who hadn't experienced it directly. Are you saying humans are descendants of your species? Not descendants, inheritors. We seeded the galaxy with our essence encoded in the genetic patterns of promising young races. But only one species maintained the pure resonance frequency necessary to awaken our legacy. Only humanity carries the complete harmonic signature. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. Around her, she could see that every piece of human technology was now operating at peak efficiency, as if the ship was somehow enhancing their capabilities. But Bex-9 and Creel seemed to be experiencing the opposite effect, their equipment failing, their bodies showing signs of distress. The others cannot comprehend what they are witnessing. The voice continued. To them, we are silent. To them, our gifts bring only discord, but you are our children coming home at last. A section of the ancient ship's hull began to iris open, revealing a docking port that seemed specifically designed for their mining vessel. The horizon's edge was being drawn toward it by some invisible force, and Sarah found that her attempts to resist were futile. Sarah, what's happening? Bex-9 called out, their form now barely luminescent. The ship is not responding to standard commands. I don't know, Sarah replied truthfully, though part of her was beginning to understand. The ancient ship wasn't taking control of their vessel, it was offering them a choice. And something deep in her human DNA was responding with acceptance. Come aboard, children of the resonance. It is time you learned the truth of your inheritance, Dot, as the horizon's edge was drawn into the ancient ship's docking bay. Sarah realized that nothing would ever be the same. Whatever they were about to discover would change not just their understanding of humanity's place in the galaxy, but potentially the entire balance of power between species. The docking clamps engaged with a sound like a massive bell tolling, and the ancient ship began to move. Through the viewports, Sarah could see the stars shifting as they accelerated toward an unknown destination at speeds that should have been impossible. Where are we going? She whispered. Dot home, came the reply. To the place where your true journey begins. Behind them, Bex-9 and Creel huddled together, their alien senses overwhelmed by energies they couldn't comprehend, equipment they couldn't control, and the growing realization that their human companions had just inherited, something that would forever change the relationship between the species of the galaxy. The ancient ship carried them toward destiny, leaving only questions in its wake. Asterisk. The truth unveiled the journey through hyperspace lasted 3 days. Though time seemed to flow differently within the ancient ship's embrace, Sarah found herself spending most of those hours in the ship's central chamber, a vast space where holographic displays showed the history of civilizations that had risen and fallen while humanity was still learning to make fire. Elena was in scientific paradise, her equipment recording data streams that would take decades to fully analyze. But what fascinated her most was how the ship seemed to anticipate the questions, providing answers before they were even asked. It's not just responding to our queries, Elena explained to Sarah as they watched the display showing the formation of their galaxy. It's reading our neural patterns, our curiosity, our capacity for understanding. It's literally educating us at the pace we can handle. Meanwhile, Bex-9 and Creel remained in the docking bay with the horizon's edge, unable to venture deeper into the ship without experiencing severe discomfort. The ancient vessel's energy fields weren't harmful to them, but they created a constant sense of discord that made extended exposure unbearable. This is deeply troubling, Bex-9 had confided to Sarah before she left them. Technology that responds only to specific species suggests segregation, hierarchy. These are dangerous concepts. Sarah couldn't argue with that logic, but she also couldn't deny the pull she felt toward the ship's mysteries. Every step deeper into its corridors felt like coming home to a place she'd never been. On the third day, they emerged from hyperspace in a system that shouldn't have existed. 3 suns, 1 blue, 1 red, 1 white orbited each other in perfect harmony, their gravitational forces balanced with mathematical precision. And orbiting all 3 was a structure that dwarfed anything Sarah had ever imagined. By the stars, Elena whispered, pressing her face against the viewport. It's a Dyson sphere? No, it's more than that. It's a library, an archive of everything. The structure was indeed vast beyond comprehension, a hollow sphere large enough to contain entire solar systems, its inner surface covered with geometric patterns that pulsed with the same blue-white light as the ship that carried them. As they approached, sections of the sphere's surface began to iris open, revealing docking bays sized for vessels far larger than their ancient transport. Welcome to the archive of echoes. The ship's voice explained as they settled into one of the smaller docking bays. Here lies the collected knowledge of our civilization, waiting for those who carry the resonance to claim their inheritance. The docking bay was filled with ships, hundreds of them, all sharing the same organic design, aesthetic as their transport. Some were clearly ancient, their hulls darkened by eons of waiting. Others appeared newer, as if they had arrived more recently. How many species did you influence? Sarah asked, as they prepared to disembark. 40-7 races across the galaxy. Carry traces of our genetic modifications, but only one maintained the complete harmonic frequency necessary for full awakening. The others received gifts, enhanced intelligence, extended lifespans, unique abilities, but you alone inherited the master key. Sarah felt the weight of that revelation. 47 species, all touched by the predecessors, all given something precious, but only humans have been granted full access to their legacy. The atmosphere in the docking bay was breathable, though it carried a strange quality that made every breath feel energizing. As they walked toward the station's entrance, Sarah noticed that Vex-9 and Creel were able to accompany them here, though they still showed signs of discomfort. The archive dampens the resonance effect, Elena observed, noting how they're alien. Colleagues seem more at ease. It's designed to allow multiple species to coexist here. The entrance to the station was a marvel of engineering, a shimmering portal that seemed to analyze each being as they passed through. Sarah felt a brief moment of scanning, followed by a warm sense of welcome. Elena experienced the same. But when Vex-9 and Creel passed through, they were surrounded by a different kind of energy cooler, more neutral. But not rejecting. The archive recognizes all who seek knowledge, the voice explained. But it reveals different truths to different minds, according to their capacity to understand and their species. Relationship to our legacy. The interior of the archive was breathtaking. Vast galleries stretched in all directions, their walls lined with crystalline storage devices that hummed with contained information. Holographic displays showed the rise and fall of civilizations, the birth and death of stars, the slow dance of evolution across millions of worlds. But what struck Sarah most was the diversity of beings moving through the galleries. She recognized several species, Cepharians with their iridescent wings, Kirtani with their multiple sensory organs, even a few helix folk with their distinctive spiral shells. All of them were studying the displays with the same sense of wonder, she felt. How long has this place been operating? Elena asked. The archive has been active for 2.7 million years, came the reply. It awakens when predecessor-touched species reach sufficient technological development to find their way here. You are the 43rd species to arrive. Sarah felt a mixture of pride and unease. If humans were the 43rd species to reach this place, where were the others? The archive seemed to read her thoughts. Many have come and gone. Some learned what they needed and returned to their homeworlds. Others chose to remain, dedicating their lives to the preservation and study of knowledge. A few. The voice paused, and Sarah sensed reluctance. A few could not handle the revelations they discovered here. They departed, but not unchanged. The knowledge they gained shaped their civilizations in ways both wonderful and terrible. They were led to a central chamber, where a massive crystal formation pulsed with inner light. As they approached, the crystal began to project images directly into their minds, not just visual, but emotional and intellectual impressions that conveyed meaning at a level deeper than words. Sarah saw the predecessors as they truly were not. Gods or ancient aliens, but beings very much like humans who had faced the same challenges, made the same mistakes, and struggled with the same questions about existence and purpose. They had achieved incredible technological advancement, but with it came the realization that their physical forms were limiting their potential. We faced a choice. The crystal explained, its voice now carrying the weight of collective consciousness. Transcend our physical existence and explore higher dimensions of reality, or remain bound to matter and eventually stagnate. We chose transcendence, but we could not bear the thought of our knowledge dying with us. The images showed the predecessors. Final project, a systematic seeding of younger species throughout the galaxy with genetic modifications that would, over millions of years of evolution, create beings capable of inheriting their legacy. But we made a mistake. The crystal continued, its tone filled with something that might have been regret. We gave different gifts to different species, thinking diversity would be strength. Instead, we created inequality. Some species received great intelligence but short lifespans. Others gained physical power but limited creativity. Still, others developed unique abilities but lost the capacity for broader understanding. Elena was recording frantically, her scientific mind racing to process the implications. So humans received the complete package. Humans were our final experiment, the synthesis of all our previous attempts. You carry the complete genetic template, the full resonance frequency, the master key to all our knowledge. But with that gift comes a responsibility. We hoped you would be wise enough to bear. Sarah felt the weight of that responsibility settling on her shoulders. What kind of responsibility? The crystal's light intensified, and suddenly they were standing in a vast simulation, a perfect replica of the galaxy as it existed today. They could see the territories of every major species, their conflicts and alliances, their struggles for resources and power. The galaxy stands at a crossroads. The crystal explained, resource depletion, territorial conflicts, and technological stagnation threaten to tear apart this civilization we helped nurture. The archive contains solutions to all these problems: clean energy sources, terraforming technologies, advanced material science, even the secrets of consciousness transfer and dimensional travel. The simulation zoomed in on various trouble spots, war zones, dying worlds, species on the brink of extinction. Then it showed how predecessor technology could solve each crisis, restore balance, and usher in new age of prosperity. But this technology responds fully only to the human resonance frequency. You alone can command it, control it, and distribute it as you see fit. The question is, what will you do with this power? Sarah looked at her companions. Elena was staring at the simulation with wide eyes, clearly grasping the incredible potential before them. But Vex-9 and Creel seemed subdued, their alien features reflecting a mixture of awe and concern. What do you think? Sarah asked them directly. Vex-9's crystalline form flickered with complex emotions. The knowledge is magnificent, but the implications are troubling. If only humans can fully access this technology, what becomes of the rest of us? Do we become dependents, hoping for your generosity? Creel's compound eyes showed similar concern. My people have always believed in earned achievement. To receive such gifts without struggle, without proving worthiness, it feels wrong. This is the test, the crystal said softly. Every species that has come before you faced the same choice. Some chose to hoard their gifts, becoming dominant powers in their regions of space. Others chose to share freely, creating dependencies that eventually led to resentment, conflict. A few chose to reject the gifts entirely, preferring to advance through their own efforts. Sarah felt the weight of history in that statement. What happened to the species that made those choices? The simulation shifted, showing the fates of various civilizations. Some had become galactic empires, ruling over vast territories with their superior technology. Others had created welfare states where less advanced species lived in comfort but without purpose. Still others had destroyed themselves in wars between those who had received gifts and those who had not. Only 3 species found a different path, the crystal revealed. They chose to become bridges, using their gifts not to rule or to create dependence, but to facilitate communication, cooperation, and mutual growth between all species. They became teachers, translators, and guides, helping others develop their own unique potentials. Elena looked up from her recordings. What happened to those 3 species? They transcended, as we did, but they chose a different form of transcendence, not departure from the physical realm, but integration with it. They became part of the galactic community in ways that allowed Them to guide without ruling, to help without creating dependence. Sarah felt a spark of understanding. That's what you're hoping humans will choose, isn't it? We hope, but we do not demand. The choice must be freely made, and it must be unanimous among those who have received the full revelation. All humans who reach this archive must agree on the path forward, or the knowledge remains sealed. The crystal's light began to pulse in rhythm with Sarah's heartbeat, and she realized that other humans were joining them in the chamber, not physically, but through some form of quantum entanglement. She could sense their presence, their thoughts, their struggles with the same choice she faced. Across the galaxy, other mining ships, exploration vessels, and research stations had been guided to similar discoveries. Humans were awakening too. Their inheritance, and each group was grappling with the implications. The moment of choice has arrived. The crystal announced, "What will humanity choose to do with the legacy of the predecessors?" Sarah looked at her companions, human and alien, alike, and felt the weight of countless civilizations watching her decision. The easy path would be to claim the inheritance and use it to benefit humanity above all others. The harder path would be to find a way to lift all species together, to become the bridges the predecessors hoped they could be. "We choose unity," Sarah said firmly, her voice carrying across the quantum link to every human in the galaxy who faced the same choice. "We choose to be bridges, not rulers. We choose to help all species reach their potential, not just our own." Elena nodded in agreement. "The knowledge belongs to everyone, even if we're the only ones who can fully access it. We'll find ways to share it, to translate it, to make it available to all." Across the galaxy, the response was unanimous. Humanity chose the path of service over the path of dominance. The crystal flared with brilliant light, and Sarah felt the knowledge of the predecessors flowing into her mind, not as a burden, but as a gift to be shared. She understood now that this was only the beginning. The real work would come in the years ahead, as humanity learned to use their inheritance to bridge the gaps between species, to solve the galaxy's problems together, and to guide all life toward a shared transcendence. The archive of echoes had found its new guardians, and the galaxy would never be the same. Asterisk.